Hello, I'm Mr. Lopez for TGILGBTT, or thank God it's LGBT Tuesday. And today we're gonna talk about the Bisexuality Umbrella. To understand what we mean about the bisexuality umbrella, first we need to understand that sexuality is a spectrum, and in that spectrum we have concepts like asexuality, which is not experiencing sexual attraction for anyone. There's also terms like gray asexual, which means that sometimes you have some sexual attraction, but this is rarely or under certain circumstances. Now, we also need to talk about the difference between bisexuality and monosexuality. Monosexuality means that you're attracted to one gender. Yeah, that can be any gender. It can be normally, traditionally, we refer to genders as male, female, and now we're including non-binary. So if you're someone who is monosexual, you're attracted to just one of those genders. So that means that generally speaking, you're either straight or gay, and that's where we put the term monosexual. Now, bisexuality means that you're attracted to more than one gender. This normally, traditionally, would be female and male gender. Now we're including non-binary genders, and this is where the spectrum starts to get broader. When you're bisexual, it can mean different things, and there's a few different terms that we're going to explain. But in general terms, it means that you're attracted to two or more genders. The first term under our bisexuality umbrella is the term bicurious. Now, to understand the term bicurious, we need to understand that there's two different terms that we need to separate. One of them is your sexual orientation, and the other one is your romantic orientation. Now, it can be that you're targeting the same gender both sexually and romantically. Let's say you're attracted, you're heterosexual and you're heteroromantic. That will put you under you will be called peri-orientated. Yeah. Now it can be the case that there's a variation in this. You're sexually and romantically attracted to different things. So you could be pansexual, but just be interested in homoromantic relationships, for example. Yeah. And this we will call that you are vari-orientated. This is important because when we talk about the term bicurious, we're talking about someone who is willing to experiment with genders, but who is not sure if they want to have a relationship with multiple genders. So that means that you could be willing to be open to experiment with people from your own gender or from a different gender, but maybe you don't want to be in a relationship with them. You just want to explore your sexuality with them. Our next term is the term androsexual. Now, androsexual is someone who is attracted to the masculine gender. Now, this can be people who were born cis male, or people who transition into male, or maybe non-binary people who are masculine, and or gender fluid people when they're on the part of the masculine aspect, and this is what we call androsexual. The next term is very similar, but is related to femininity, and that's gynosexual. So that's exactly the same thing, but you're attracted to feminine people or feminine genders. Then we have the term polysexual. Now, when someone is polysexual, first we need to remember that this is different than someone who is polyamorous. Polysexual means that you're attracted to many genders, but not all genders. So it can be something very similar to androsexual or gynosexual, where you're only attracted to masculine people or feminine people, or it can be that there's a specific specific types of people that you're attracted. So you might be attracted to non-binary people and trans people, and that's it. And because it's more than one, you are polysexual. The next term is pansexual. Now, there's two terms that are very similar, but they have some specific differences. Those are the terms pansexual and omnisexual. Both prefixes pan and omni means all. So someone who's pansexual is attracted to all genders, and someone who's omnisexual is attracted to all genders as well. But the difference is that someone who's pansexual is attracted to all genders regardless of their gender or sexuality. This means that you don't really pay much attention to the gender, and there's a character who explains it better in the TV show Schitt's Creek. He's openly pansexual, and he explains it that they're talking about wine, and he says that sometimes he likes red, sometimes he likes white, sometimes he has been known for having a Merlot that used to be a Chardonnay, and he says, I like the wine and not the label, and that's how he explained what pansexual is. Now, the term omnisexual is similar in the way that someone who's omnisexual is attracted to all genders or all sexualities, but it is despite their gender rather than regardless. So what it means is that you are attracted to all genders and all sexualities, but you could have preferences for some of them in particular. So you might be attracted first than anything else. You're attracted to cis male people, or you're attracted to trans people, and you can put them in order of which ones you're attracted to the most, which in difference to someone who's pansexual, they wouldn't really care if what gender or what sexuality the other person has. But as I said at the beginning, their sexuality is a spectrum. These are just some of the terms that fall under the bisexuality umbrella. And you might be in a position where you don't like any of these labels and you feel like they don't represent who you are. If that is the case, there's a term that you can apply to yourself. You will be called a pomosexual, that means that you are not you don't accept any of the current labels, or you don't think they identify you as a whole. And that's it. These are just some of the terms under the bisexual umbrella. Sexuality is a spectrum, and you might fall into one of these terms or not at all. And that's it. Hope that this made some sense to you and it made clearer some of these terms. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and see you next time.